Welcome to the July the 8th, 2002 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and as we bring you some of the people that are important in making that history in the past and some that continue to make it even this day. And we're so pleased to have a very wonderful couple that's very well known in Grand Prairie, Texas, and for their many wonderful contributions to this community, and that is Joanne and Troy Wright. And usually I introduce the man first, Joanne, but since you're seated next to me, and I know that Troy is so proud of you and his little family that he won't fuss at us about that, will he? No. Welcome to the set, my dear. Glad to have you with us. And Troy, yes, we're really glad to have you with us today, young man.
Happy to be back.
Yes, you two were due to be on the show last week, and we canceled our history because of the birth of Louis Matthew Tovar. Louis Tovar, our director, and his wife Lisa have a wonderful new son, and so we didn't get to tape you all last week, but I'm so glad y'all showed up this time, and we're so pleased. And with your permission then, Joanne, we're going to talk to Troy first. And Troy, would you look out into your center camera over here, and we'd like for you to tell us about the real Troy Wright, where you were born, when you were born, and your parents' names, please.
Okay. I was born in El Paso, Arkansas. And my father was named Thomas, and my mother was named Julie.
And Julie's maiden name was?
Lawson.
Lawson, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, go right ahead and tell us about brothers or sisters.
Okay, and there was 10 of us boys and 1 girl. And we was, of course, all raised up during the Depression, but we didn't even know it because we lived on a farm and we grew everything we ate, and everything was just wonderful for our family.
All right, now Troy, born in El Paso, Arkansas, where did you enter the elementary schools? Where did you first start the school?
In El Paso.
In El Paso, was it the El Paso Elementary School?
Yes.
Okay, and was it a 4th grade or a 12th grade or an 11th grade school or what?
It was a 12th grade school, but I didn't complete school there. They moved us to Searcy, Arkansas. My dad was always sheriff, and that is a county seat, so we had to get up there. And that's where I graduated from high school, Searcy, Arkansas.
Yes, and being the son of a sheriff, was that exciting for you?
Well, about like being a preacher's son, you got to be good.
Got to toe the mark, hadn't you?
Right.
And having 10 boys and 1 girl, I know that little girl was really special and spoiled, wasn't she?
She really was outstanding.
All right. Do you have any brothers or sisters remaining that are still living?
I'm the only remaining person in my family.
In your family. You're an orphan. Yeah, some of us get to be orphans just really quick, don't we? All right. And after you left Searcy, Arkansas, what happened to Troy?
Then I came to Texas. I was first with Vandergriff as a used car manager in Arlington, and I had my first used car lot in Grand Prairie in '53, right by the #1 fire station between it and the Dairy Queen.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was in 1953. You had your own lot there.
Right.
And working for Vandergriff in Arlington, that was a pretty coming town, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah.
Yes. And what moved you to Grand Prairie? You decided you wanted to be an entrepreneur on your own?
That's right.
Okay, all right. And who talked you into coming to Grand Prairie from Searcy, Arkansas? Or what, did you go to the military or something and find some clues?
Well, no, really, Mr. Vandergriff, I had been selling them cars. You know, I wholesaled a lot of cars back then.
Yeah.
So I'd been selling them cars, so he talked me into come down here.
He invited you to come to the Metroplex then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was always glad that I did. And
yes.
To know he and Tommy, they were great people.
All right. When did you meet Joanne?
Oh, in '54.
In 1954, was that after you came to Grand Prairie, Texas, or this vicinity?
Yes, she had her first job at the Chevrolet house in Irving. That was a Vandergriff.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing, you were keeping it in the Chevrolet family, weren't you? Okay. I'm going to get back with you in just a minute now that I know where you met Joanne. I need to get her back to where she was born and her parents and all this good stuff. So Joanne, would you look out into your camera and give us your mini genealogy?
Okay. I'm one of four children. I have a brother and 3 sisters.
All right.
I was born in Bentonville, Arkansas. I was not raised there, though. I was raised in Kansas.
And where in Kansas?
Kingman.
In Kingman. Okay, but you were born in Bentonville, and name your parents.
My mother was Jean Morris Woodford.
All right.
And
Your dad?
my dad, I did not know.
You did not know?
I was raised by a stepfather, Mark Bentley, who was the daddy in my life.
Well, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, for all my life, really.
Well, he really is your dad.
He is.
Anybody
Yes.
that raised a little wonderful girl and then and brought her on down the line. And in Bentonville, you lived there. You were born there. Did you ever go to school there?
No, I did not.
All right, let's talk about school in Kansas.
Okay. I actually started school in Kingman, Kansas, and went through there till I was 10 years old when Mother met Mr. Bentley and they married. And from that time on, he was with what they called survey crews,
Okay.
looking for oil fields.
All right.
And we traveled a great deal. Probably attended approximately 13 to 16 schools through my educational years, all
That
over the
is-
Southwest, Illinois, Michigan.
That is exciting.
It
You
was.
You
It
were
was
like an
interesting.
Army brat, weren't you?
Very much so.
Yes.
Just settle in. It was time to go again.
Yes. And did you make any lasting friends at any of those places, Joanne?
I have lost track of almost everyone. You become a very close-knit family when you travel that much, and so your life is pretty well surrounded with them.
What brought you from Kansas to the Grand Prairie area?
When I graduated from high school in Las Cruces, New Mexico, I came to...
So Las Cruces is where you were when you graduated.
Right.
Let's talk about that high school.
Las Cruces was a neat school. If anyone knows, that's not a very heavily populated area. And the University of New Mexico is close by. And it was a nice place to grow up.
All right, tell me about Las Cruces High School. When you graduated, were there favorite teachers or someone that inspired you to excel? Favorite teachers?
Oh, there was...
Cheerleader coach.
No. No. There were several teachers. Teachers were always an inspiration to me because that was where you found your foundation. When you were moving, it was hard to get acquainted again, so you kind
Counted on
of
a
drifted
teacher,
toward
didn't you?
teachers
Yeah.
to open doors for you.
Yeah, and that was wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, and from Las Cruces then, where did you go?
I came to the Metroplex area to look for
What
work.
brought you here?
I had an aunt that lived here, and I came to stay with her.
Would you name her and put her in your archives?
Her name was Pat Douglas.
Pat Douglas.
And I stayed with her until this young man next to me, we got together and married.
Oh, that is wonderful. I've got to get back. I've gotten you all both to Grand Prairie, Texas, but I need to get back with Troy about his schooling. In all of your elementary and high school, was there favorite teachers and favorite subjects for you, Troy, that spurred you on to be an entrepreneur, that wanted to sell cars and do all of these things?
Well, math and history was my favorite.
All right.
And most of my teachers was favorites because, back in those years, teachers were really close to the students.
They were like family, weren't they?
Yeah, and they visited our home a lot because
Yeah.
we had a lot of good food to eat.
Yeah. Oh, yes, living on that farm, that was
Yeah,
great,
right.
wasn't it? Okay, and in high school, what was your greatest outlet? Did you play volleyball, basketball, football, track?
Basketball and football.
All right, what position?
Basketball was my favorite,
Okay.
which I was the best at. I thought I was good at football till I went out and got hit a few times.
Then you thought, well, I'm going to pull back on this one. It's easier to sell cars than it is.
Right.
Right. Okay, now that we've gotten you all together, where did you meet?
Church.
All right, tell me about the church.
First Baptist Church.
In Grand Prairie, Texas?
In Irving.
Oh, in Irving,
And
all right.
Brother Henry Kincaid there was the pastor, and he continued to be for about 35 years, and he continues to be a great friend of ours.
In Irving,
Yeah.
all right. And you lived around in this area but went to church at First Baptist in Irving.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. And were you in the same Sunday school class?
No.
No.
Like 15 years difference.
Yes. And what was so exciting about this young man when you met him, Joanne?
Well, I was rather young and he was rather dashing.
Oh, he was very dashing. I bet he was very dashing.
And he has a very glib tongue.
And he had always had a good car, didn't he?
Oh, by all means, convertibles, the works.
Oh, the works. Oh, that was a... See there, Troy, we're learning all of these special secrets from Joanne. Okay, and y'all met and married. Did you marry in Irving?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, all right, and you married in Irving. And then, what brought you all to Grand Prairie, Texas?
Actually, business did.
Yeah.
He opened his business here.
Opened a business there on Main Street next to Fire Station Number 1. And so then, where did you settle in Grand Prairie?
The first place we lived in Grand Prairie was on Burleson Street.
Okay, all right.
And, had a lovely home there.
Yes.
And then later we moved out on 8th Street and were there all through the growing up years of our
the
children.
kids. All right, now you said we have kids. We haven't even mentioned the kids, so let's name the kids.
Oh, now that's a challenge.
That is a challenge.
There are 6 of them.
The 6 children.
There's Julie,
All right.
Carlton,
All right.
Sarah, Laura, Grady, and Lanny. Is that 6?
That's 6.
And do you have grandchildren?
We have grandchildren. There are 10 of them.
10 grandchildren.
Don't ask me to name them.
We
no.
will not ask you to name all 10
And then there
grandchildren.
is a beautiful great-grandchild.
All right, now you can name the beautiful
Her
great-grandchild.
name is Alexis.
Alexis, that's wonderful. Oh, that is such a splendid family. Okay, what were you doing all of the time he was working in the cars? Were you a homemaker, home mama?
Yes, I was a homemaker. All of the time that my children were growing up, I was fortunate to be able to stay at home. Young women today don't have that opportunity always, and I grieve for them in that because it was great. Our place where we raised the children was nice. They had we had a little bit of acreage, so they had all the openness of having a place to roam.
Almost a farm, yeah.
Well, we actually called it not quite a ranch with Troy's disposition towards horses, but we raised all the children there, and I got to stay home with them. And then I chose, as the younger ones went into high school, to go to work because I loved what I was doing. I was doing it sometimes part-time, and I went to work for Drennan's Florists, who have been in Grand Prairie for forever. I think it was originally started by the sheriff for his wife to have a hobby, and then bought by the Staffords later, and I worked for them for 25 years after raising the family.
And you were real great in the PTA.
Yes, that was while we were at home. While I was at home.
You were the president of what PTA?
Oh, well, we started out at Crockett, Lee, South Grand Prairie, and Grand Prairie High.
And Grand Prairie High. Oh, that is wonderful. And if you have any of the stuff on the Old South, please let us know because we're begging for that kind of history.
I do have some history books that I discovered in a recent move, so
Good.
I will be contacting someone with those.
Right. Oh, that is great. And Troy, after your own business there next door to Fire Station Number 1, what'd you do?
Well, I moved from there down to 1601 East Main,
All right.
and I was there about 20 years.
With your own lot.
Right cars.
All right.
And like in the late 50s, I had the Studebaker Packard agency across the street. And then in the early 60s, I had American Motors, which was Rambler,
Yes.
over on my own center.
All right.
And continued there till in the late 60s. That's where I met Mr. Al Graff. And we became friends and continued to be friends for all these years.
And that's one of the reasons that you're on this show along with Joanne, the fact that you have a wonderful family history too. We were so pleased that we were called by Mr. Buddy Sawyer, and he said, Troy and I have made a deal, and we're going to let the historical group have some of the archives from Mr. Alvin Victor Graff, who owned Graff Chevrolet and was a wonderful boss out at Timco, and worked, I believe, during the North American years and otherwise. And I believe you have one picture that we really do covet, Troy. And this is hanging in Mr. Graff's office. And let's put that where, now Lewis is coming out to get a close-up of this. Mr. Tovar's doing double duty today. And Lewis, we want to get that one without a glare. I know that that's Mr. McCullough, Mr. Howard, and Mr. Alvin Victor Graff. And Mr. Graff is on the, from looking at it, for me, it's on the left-hand side, and Mr. Howard in the middle, and Mr. McCullough on the other side. And that is a very famous picture, and Troy wouldn't give us that for the historical organization. He said, Stan, Mr. Graff's son, knows about this picture and said, we've got to leave this one hanging on the wall. So we did take it uptown and got a historical copy of that. So we have a copy for our archives, thanks to Mr. Troy Wright and to Buddy Sawyer, who have allowed us to do all of these things. And Mr. Graff was a very philanthropic young man here in Grand Prairie. He furnished cars for the schools. He was very, very involved with the Immaculate Conception Church and the nuns there, because I understand Mr. Graff was raised in a Catholic school arena, and he had a very soft spot in his heart for the nuns and everything. And you want to tell us about Mr. Graff, just your perspective of him, please.
He furnished a car for them starting in about 53 until the present time. He furnished new cars for those to drive.
Oh, that is wonderful. And how about driver's education cards? I know the schools bought them from him sometime, and sometimes they were a gift from Mr. Graff.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. He did that, and also for the police departments, several different departments there. He continually furnished cars and station wagons and whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's always worked with the police department. You know, sometimes they need cars that aren't marked.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they come and borrow them from us.
Yes. Well, Mr. Graff was a family man also.
Yes.
He had a beautiful, beautiful wife that died in her early years, and 2 sons. And he has one remaining son now, and that's Mr. Stan Graff. Mm-hmm. And is he still with your company?
Yes, he is. He's the owner now. Of the company there that, of course, Mr. Alvin started, and he's also the owner of the one up in McKinney, yeah. That's he owns the Chevrolet place. That's Eldorado, and then he owns Chrysler Jeep Eagle and Mazda up there.
Mm-hmm. And how about Mr. Buddy Sawyer? Buddy Sawyer was a real good close friend of the 3 of you, and what's he doing now?
Well, he's kind of like Stan's right arm.
Yes.
He doesn't. He hangs around the business a lot, and I'm sure he gave Stanley a lot of input. But he's not as a department head anymore. He was general manager when Mr. Alvin died.
Yes.
But he's still there, and he's still active.
Does he work with the farm?
He don't like the word work. he comes around about 3 days a week, and he does. He oversees the farm here, and I don't know what all he has to do with the one up in Red River County. They got acres and acres up there.
Up there.
Beautiful places.
Yes. All right. And what do you do for Graff Chevrolet now?
Not much.
I know it, but you always get up at all the Chamber of Commerce meetings, and what's your little saying that you always say, Troy?
My name is Troy Wright, and my motto is have a good day and buy a Chevrolet from me at Graff. And that's the reason I'm back. I was retired, actually, and Mr. Graff called me up, and what are you doing? I said, nothing much. And I don't start that till about noon. You've called early. So I want you to come up here and talk to you. Well, nobody ever refused Mr. Graff because he did so much for the community, and anything else he was called on to do, he was always willing and ready. And of course I went up, and he said, I want you to run this place. And I said, well, I'm not going to. I'm a runner from my family now. But anyway, we worked out a deal where I came in and worked with him and hired salespeople and sold, and that was 12 years ago.
And you're still there?
I'm still there.
All right.
They've been so good to me. They let me work my own shift, and I come and go as I want to, and I try to work as much as appointments as I can with my, I have a big base of customers. And I'm thinking about retiring at the end of the year, but they're talking to me about just continuing with my customers. And I really hate to, because I enjoy, being able to help people.
All right,
so
now you have other things that you're into other than this magnificent job at Graff Chevrolet to come and go as you please. How about, aren't you into the Northeast
First Baptist Church,
Northeast Optimist, and what else?
Lions.
And the Lions?
The Lions Club, yes, the Lions Club
Is that first?
That's my real love in the service organization.
All right, Lions has to be before Northeast Optimist.
Yes.
Well,
I've only been with Northeast Optimists a short while, and the reason I joined them is because they do so much for the children out there in the northeast part of town.
Okay.
And of course, I found out about that, so I joined up with them. But the Lions Club, of course, is the largest service organization in the world and does so much.
And you've been their president?
Yes, I was. I was their president, and that year that I was president, the governor made me Lion of the Year for District 2.
Yes.
That was a real quite honor.
Oh, that is a big honor. Oh, that is wonderful.
I really enjoyed the Lions, still do.
And the Lions Club, where do they meet now?
They meet at the Veterans Building at 12 on Thursdays.
Okay.
And you're all invited to come as my guest anytime.
And when the building is raised at the Veterans Memorial Center, where are y'all going to meet then?
Well, we plan to go to the Ruthie Jackson Center.
That is good.
That's
That is
right.
good. That was a good decision. The Lions are real smart, aren't they, Joanne?
Oh, yes.
And Joanne, I know that since you and Troy go to First Baptist, there must be some other thing that you do now. Are you arranging flowers? Are you in the garden club, or what?
Well, just for this last year, I'm not doing anything.
Do as you please.
Well, pretty much so, yes. Not necessarily by choice. Troy and I were in a rather serious accident a year ago, and we've just recovered, and so it's time to get active again.
Well, we had both you and Troy on the prayer list because when you had that accident out near Grapevine, wasn't it?
Yes.
Out near Grapevine, we thought we were going to lose two very important people in the city of Grand Prairie, Texas. And when we heard that, we got a prayer chain going all the way to Europe. So
that's why we're here today.
That's exactly why.
Yes. Well, the Lord blessed you to let you stay a while longer, just as He has some of the rest of us that have had these things happen to us.
We've enjoyed Grand Prairie all these years. Our 6 children gave their life to Christ through the First Baptist, and now we've got 6 grandchildren that have, and
yes,
just a great city.
That is.
And they're all educated through 3 at Grand Prairie at South and 3 at Grand Prairie High. So,
now, you named about 5 different dealerships that you were associated with different manufacturers, all of these different kind of cars. What kind of car are you driving today, Troy Wright?
an Avalanche, Chevrolet Avalanche.
A Chevrolet Avalanche.
If you don't know what that is, it's the best automobile for the money that's been built today.
And what is an Avalanche? Tell me what that is. It like one of the...
It's built on a Suburban frame,
Yes.
but it rides better than a Suburban because it doesn't have the heavy tail end that the Suburban has.
Uh-huh.
And it's more maneuverable. It's a car truck.
It is a car truck.
You can just flip the top right off and you got a truck. You can turn the seat down and you got a 10-foot bed. It's amazing.
It is, and it's an Avalanche. Okay, now tell me about this, about all of these horses. Where do you keep all of those horses now?
Well, right now I have them over on Interstate 20 between Southwest and Robinson Road.
Great Southwest and Robinson Road out in the Florence Hill area?
No, yes,
No?
a little
Now,
faster.
A little past the Florence
On
Hill.
Interstate 20 Service Road.
Okay, all right.
We have a billboard there at our place. So you'll know when you get there. It says, "See what's happening in Grand Prairie." in the Dallas Morning News.
Oh, that is good. That is good. All right, and what got you interested in the horses? Here you are in the cars up a storm. We have 3 minutes left, so you're going to have to tell me about this horse story.
I was raised with horses.
Okay, on the farm in Arkansas.
And then I've always been in horses since. And I do some work with the chamber that I enjoy very much.
Well, you better talk about it because you've talked about the Optimists and the Lions, and we have chamber people in our studio audience.
I'm in the branding irons and some other committees that they ask me to be on, and I enjoy every minute of it.
Okay.
It's a great tribute to the city.
All right, Joanne, he's taken up almost all of the time.
Good.
So before we leave, I just wanted you to have an opportunity to say anything about living in Grand Prairie, and then I'm going to get to Troy and let him say thank you.
Well, as he said, raising our children and in Grand Prairie has been a blessing.
Were all of them Gophers?
No, I'm sorry.
We had Gophers
and we had Warriors and we had Gophers both. Very active football team.
You got to support them both.
Oh, we still do. We spend a lot of time sitting at the stadium watching different performances, and we're on our second generation now watching, well, actually just Warriors now, but a year ago we had a Gopher still in the school system. So with the grandchildren, we still stay active, and we feel very blessed to have been able to raise our children here in Grand Prairie. There's a wonderful support system here, both community-wise and church-wise.
Troy, 1/2 of a minute. What do you want to say about Grand Prairie?
Grand Prairie, I think that Grand Prairie people and our council has done more in recent years than is really imaginable to people. People just need to come to Grand Prairie and see what's happening in Grand Prairie.
Troy, you are really special, and we want to thank you for helping us hustle the archives for Alvin Victor Graff, and also for some of the details that you've given us about that company that has been in Grand Prairie for so many years, and your association, and also the family life of Troy and Joe Wright. I want to thank y'all for sharing that with us today. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.
Thank you.